I don't care about love, just need your touch. Want you to be my vice, 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 vice. I'm all about your vibe.
Hey guys, it's Marie, the Automation Junkie. I'm so excited for you to watch this video. We're going to explore using portal pages to transition to circles using forms. That was a mouthful, but I promise you it will make sense once you watch the video. If you have not watched any of my other videos before, be sure to check out more of my SuiteDash videos and all the other things that I love to talk about. But for now, let's hop in. Right, so let's jump into it. Now, I know that this may actually go over a few of our heads, and that's completely fine. This is going to be a little bit intricate, and it's also very much so touching a lot of spaces all at once. I have a process of working through my systems, so a lot of times I kind of go backwards, then forwards. Like I like to do the back end and then connect everything first, because I know that if I do one thing, then it will also have to connect to another thing. So I try to work in progressions or stages rather, and then I always have multiple tabs open of what I'm working in. And I'm the type of person that as I work with clients, I like to literally strategically plan out everything. So I tell them what I'm doing, and I also lay out the goals and the items that I'm working on so that they can have it. And I'm just going to give you guys a sneak peek of how it operates. So I take screenshots. I'm always very sure to make sure that you guys have access to this, because a lot of times people need to see it on a just a quick screenshot level, but they also need to see videos. So I also have videos that I input as well throughout the process. And so I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing now. As you can see, kind of right now, this is just kind of gibberish. What I'm creating are portal pages, 5 portal pages for this step-by-step process here, 5 forms to kind of match this process here, and 5 circles to just be for this business tax prep. So as you can see, BTP stands for business tax prep. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the individual tax prep as well. This is just verbiage that I duplicated here. And then a lot of other things I'll be working on in stages. Typically, if you are familiar with the system, you'll more than likely get this process done quicker if you just get really used to it. A lot of people ask me, well, what's your estimate of getting stuff done? It's really about your built out. If I'm doing a tax client, like this client per se, she is tax and she's also, she does business formation. She does a lot of other very in detail items that need different processes. So it can really be based on the built out. Anyway, talking too much. So what I've created already, I'm going to show you guys in the edit view because I'm actually working on this now in real time. What I've created already is going to be the actual portal page. So I've started already doing the naming conventions. At first I was going to do BT, and then I was like, I'm going to stick with BTP. So this is going to be step 1 of the process that happens after they've completed the proposal and gotten the invoice and paid the invoice. They'll be landed here. Now what you're going to see is an actual text block that I created with just coloring and some sizing. So what happens here is that I'm doing a bolder size and a bigger size for the actual quote unquote step that they're in. And then I've grayed out and made the smaller options. I made the other options smaller because they aren't at that step yet. And honestly, I'm going to take away these because I think the way that I want to do it is that when they get to that step, the arrow will then be inserted. So this is cleaner. And then what will happen is I save this. So they know that they're at step 1, right? This is an embedded form from Cognito Form that I'm not going to show you guys because of privacy. But then the next thing you have here is going to be this arrow down, because I'm going to create a text block that's going to have the excuse me, just the trigger that says, hey, you got to check this acknowledgement box to say that you completed this in order to move to the next circle. So I'm going to just save this now because, again, I like to save things so that I can not screw stuff up. And yes, I have actually started working on her entire circles already. As you can see, I already built out these circles. And again, because it's going to seem a little confusing, what I did is, again, through consistency, I'm using the same acronym. However, this is a process that will be taken down through stages. So step one is inquiry, which is going to be that kickoff form. Step two is going to be the proposal and invoicing. So they're going to stay in that step until the invoicing is complete. Depending on what invoice they receive, they'll go into a different bracket of the circle. They will start at step three, which is going to be step one of the actual business organizer, which is the part one there. So that's how it's organized so far, which will make more sense as you see it. So as we're going through the process, you're going to see why I did like this, because I want to be able to keep the creation of the stages and phases good. I have, and I'm in love with doing backgrounds now for portals. So I've been starting to do more backgrounds, and some of the new videos that I'll be releasing. I haven't released any of the API stuff yet, so keep in mind that that's coming. But this is really going to show you how I like to be creative in terms of the background. Another client, she's very bold and pink, and those videos will be coming out because I'm going to be doing a build out for her specifically. But yeah, so this is the form that I'll be using. And again, I was starting to use BP, but I'm going to do BPP. And what I'm going to do here, in correlation to the actual step that they're going to be in for the portal page, I'm going to do the same circle. So I'm going to call this, copy this, and it's going to take me to this because I touched it. All right, let me go back here. So I'm going to call this. Oh no, it didn't do it. Let me go back here. I'm going to call this. I also have to do like this trick where I come off it so it doesn't actually click it. I'm going to call it this, step 3 BP, and then I'm going to do this as well so that it's still going to correlate, because I want to make sure that everyone understands, like, okay, this is connected to this. But I can also do like an arrow as well. I am an arrow girl and I like to use emojis, so I easily like transition between them. So this is going to be the same as this. So step 3 is going to still be BP, BPT, step 1. And this is the form that's going to be on this page. So what this form will do is something very, very simple. All it's going to do is add an acknowledgement field, and this is going to be the field that's going to be used in all of the actual forms. So this is going to just be really a duplicated system rather. But I'm going to call this acknowledgement, and then I'm going to say, I can Google an acknowledgement, but it's going to be something along the lines of, please acknowledge the completion of the form above. Right? Or I'll say, I have successfully completed and I've successfully submitted the form above. And I'm ready to move to the next stage. Right, something encouraging. I use WordTune, another product. I use WordTune just to kind of really bring out the verbiage, and I guess I can say that the way that I speak is very profound and easy to understand. However, I really do want to make sure that it's just eloquent overall. So it's just something that I do to kind of make sure that I am, using right phrasing and words. So as you guys saw that I grabbed a phrase that I like better, just change a few words. And so the usage, you're going to I don't want to necessarily use it in projects. It's really going to be used overall. So I'm going to go ahead and have this be a checkbox because that's what it is. And literally, I'm going to add this. Okay. It wants me to choose projects. Oh, did I just pick a project field? I did. No. Did I did. I did a project field. I'm going to have to delete that field. I picked a project field. It's okay. Because I was like, why did you tell me to do project? But it's going to be a check box, and I'm just going to hit check. Because I really do not want this project field to be there, I'm going to go and delete that now. I like to keep things very, very clean. So I'm going to delete it now that it's there. Okay, perfect. So now what I would do, going back here, is I want to make sure I set up the automation as a trigger automation. This is going to be where I actually remove them from portal page. Oh my gosh, I hate having to search because it's like, let me make sure I don't click the wrong thing. So I'm gonna add them to the next portal page, which will be step 4. And then I'm going to remove them from the step 3 portal page, or step 2. Well, step 3. Yes, sorry, step 3. So I'm moving to step 3. And then save this. And if you guys aren't really following, I'll kind of go back and explain so why they're moving over to step 4. So right now, when they go from the proposal, they're going to be added to step 3 of whatever process they're going to. And that process itself would be, the process that basically would pivot them into their next phase or portal page, right? And so we understand that the portal page itself is going to be step 1 of that business organizer. So that's where they're going to start their actual build out here of completing the items that are here. So because now I've created this, I want to go ahead and I have the triggers done, but I want to go ahead and also just send the notification to the super admin as well, just to let the super admin know that this was completed. And if the super admin had Teams on here, I would send it here as well. But for the most part, I like to just, do all the things. So I'm going to say something as simple as client full name as completely as submitted, because it's going to be, as submitted. And then I'm going to utilize this. I'm just going to click it. And I didn't want to click it. Let's see if it just included. Perfect. Right. And I'm going to add this. One thing I love about SuiteDash is that it does pull fonts exactly how it has it. So I always have to remember to do a submit by plain text. So this is going to just make submitted step 1, holding. So this, I'll just say, I'll probably tweak this a bit, but it's going to say, okay. So once that says completed, what's going to happen next is going to be us moving forward with doing some of the next one. So I hope that you guys are getting this process so far. And I hope that I'm using it. And let me. Okay, so as this is already set up, I'm going to hit save, boom, bam, bam. And I like to always go ahead and edit. This is a thing that I always do when I'm setting up accounts. I always edit the submission of the way that this looks, because it does get a little clunky and I get tired of having to change it all the time. So if you're going to CRM, I believe, and then going to settings, you're able to change the default embed of how a form is always going to submit. So I like to always go ahead and hide the title, hide the required, and then I like to always make the checkbox their logo because that just matters. And I'm going to choose this logo, and I'm going to make it smaller and then center it. All right, and then I'm going to put this up. Now I take out the thank you, but I leave this as a default, and then I still make adjustments in the actual one here. Now, because this was not adjusted before, I created this. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing you just saw there. Choose the image, make it smaller, edit, center, and I'm going to say, there's gonna be a refresh or a refresh that's gonna happen. So it's gonna say, I'm gonna say hold for the refresh, and kind of just keep them. I don't know. I'll probably change the wording afterwards, but this will be what happens there. So as you can see, the form is gonna look just like this. And I'm more than likely going to make this a transparent form only because I want to be able to change the background for where I'm going to submit it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here and grab this code here. And I'm going to go back to my portal page, which is here. And I'm going to edit this here and paste it in this text field here. I'm going to save it there. And then I'm going to quickly just preview it and go down below what I needed it to show. Perfect. And then you can see here that you can't see it, but if I preview it as person, I should be able to see it. So you see that it looks just like this, and the spacing just looks horrible. So I like to always adjust also like the spacing. And first of all, I don't know if you guys know, but you can still update sizing of the form as well. So I want to do that, but that's completely too big. And I'm going to make it as well centered because I think centering it will probably help. And I'm going to change the actual margin of it to help it. But keep in mind, I have been always tricked with this because some people's screens are a lot bigger. So you see how the margin looks here. If I preview this now in the same tester account, this might be a little too high or it might be perfect and it looks perfect. But if I do it in someone else's account, it might be too big or like too high up. So it's always like a hit or miss. And I kind of always leave it until someone tells me that it looks horrible. Then I'm like, okay, I'll change it. So that's that there. So now this is a complete portal page 1. And I'm going to do portal page 2 in this video and then continue to do my full build out here. But I'm going to show you guys now how I would do portal page 2. So oh, by the way, the circles that can see this should be the actual circle that I created. And I'm going to just do it to that circle because I don't want the overall circle to see it because they're moving through stages. And so it'll be step 3. Okay, so everything should still align to what it should align to. And I'm going to hit save. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that these are things that I don't know if a lot of people realize, but you want to make sure that it's assigned as a start page for that person as well. And if you didn't know, please update your styling to make sure that you're hiding the page title and completely hide that title bar because it's a little messy. Oh, and before I forget, what I did want to do, because I did think this would be a little bit hard to see for clients, then I'm going to also add a background on here that will kind of be like an alert space, and then also change the text color to white so that people can see it. And then now it looks like this, which gives them more of an alarming look, like, hey, there's something that you need to do here. And the other thing that I didn't do that I need to do is make this required. And I'm probably jumping around and you guys are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're talking about now. But I promise you it will make sense when I do the second one so that you can actually get used to the process. And so this is a required fill now. Save, and that just makes it required. And so now if you look back down at it, it looks too big. Okay, I'm gonna take off the box. I think the box is just gonna kill me. Because it's going to do the entire margin, which I didn't want it to do the entire margin, but I can literally leave it. I'll make the text bigger and I'll clear this out. Because you can add a border and put it on the actual padding itself and all the things, but for the sake of this video and time, I'm just going to make sure this is larger. Make sure this is a good size, because I think that's probably not. Okay, I don't think it wants to take it right now. I probably have too many screens open. And it's telling me that it doesn't want to take it. There we go. And I'm going to just view this really quick. So the idea behind it is that we want to make sure they see it, right? So it's a little bigger, cool beans. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to now go ahead and go, you can save and then it will kind of take you back to the actual dashboard itself where you have all of the portal pages. And because, again, we work smarter, not harder, I'm going to duplicate this because I've already created the circles. And this is what I mean by I work backwards. I create the circles. After I create the circles, then I create the form, and then I create the remainder of the actual portal page itself. So because I already know what circle I'm going to have, I'm going to make sure I take off that assigned one, and I'm going to add the page step 4, and I'm going to update this now to say step 2, because now when we come down here, there's going to be a step 2. So as I was showing you guys, I'm going to put this to be like this. And the way that I did this is pretty simple. We're going to take off the thing here, and I'm going to, oops, I don't want to do that. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm doing this a little bit more smarter. Okay, so I am going to size this down to 20. No, I think wasn't it 20 that I did? It is a 20. So I'm going to size it down and I'm going to change the color. It's not a 20, it's actual 18. And then now I'm going to make this, I think I made it a 24. It wasn't a 28. And I'm going to change the color and I'm going to make this bold. So literally they will say, oh my gosh. Now I'm going to change this from welcome to user made to the next step. Right? So this is still greeting them in the same fashion. It's making it easier for them to understand that they made it to the next step. I'm a Giphy girl, so I normally add Giphies for everything, but in this case, this professional client does not want Giphies, and that's completely fine. So I'm going to pull her information and come back with the frame so that you guys can see how it looks. Okay, so I've added my updated information here, and I'm going to go ahead now and add this form. So I am gonna first go to the forms, and I'm going to hit save on this bad boy, and it's gonna take me back to the forms page. All right, and again, smarter, not harder, duplicating, and I'm gonna just change the number and information here. And boom. And yes, this does equal a lot of forms because of her process, but even though there are multiple different ways to do this, we could have made a flow, which would have been easy as well. I wanted to just make it as simple as possible, and I think that, you know, moving them through a process like this is easy enough. So this will now remove them from step 4. Yeah. Put it this way, and then it would add them to step 5. Okay. So saving this, again, all I did was went ahead and duplicated the form, and I'm going to also update this process here because I want her to know that this is now step 2 and this is part 2 of this process, and it was completed, and just kind of giving the same, information all around. And what this acknowledgement is the same acknowledgement that I had. And I'm gonna go and get this beautiful link that I have. Okay, and now this link, I will go ahead and edit this text box, and I will just update this, and I can just update it as a plain text, and it just takes the same format, and then hit save. Because literally, baby, I'm done with that. So the biggest thing that you'll see now is making sure that you add the start page for that as well. And then I'm going to do a view on a tester, and I'm going to scroll down and wait for it to refresh because it isn't loading the tester yet. You can see up here you have that tester there, and then you have the same situation here, right? So pretty much it's the same thing. If you're asking, okay, well, what does it look like on the client side? It's exactly what I showed you. However, because I think it's important to show you what that looks like, I'm going to actually go ahead and add, I believe I could add, let me see if there's already a test client in here for myself. Okay, so I went ahead and added step 3, which is where they would be if they were in the process, and I'm going to go ahead and impersonate them. So this is a live impersonate. So I always do this when I'm testing because I always like to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So as you can see, welcome. I don't know if she has a space in her name or if there is just a space in her name. I like to remove the dashboard link. So this is in a tax prep, which I like to add as like an actual dashboard link so they can always have that navigation there. I don't like to have this actually shown in a like a dashboard drop down because this is going to be the starter page. So I'm going to ignore all of this. They would go through this process. As you can see here, it does take them through their steps, and I would go ahead and now submit this. And it says hold for the refresh. As you guys can see, there is a refresh. So this is their portal page. This is the dashboard that I had created, which because it's sometimes a little wonky, you can see that, again, me setting it up, it does actually have, and this is where I clean it up because testing goes. But you know that it worked because it took them from dashboard 1 to the next, but the starter page was set as a tax prep, which, I can always fix that. But you can see that this does the same thing. You made it to the next step, has her name, has a tax prep page 2. And so it gives the same information, and then when they were to click this, it'll take them to the next page. So that's basically how it works. I hope that you guys really understood this. I love doing these processes. And again, this is not just the only way I've done them. I've done them very differently for different clients. And so if you guys are interested in learning more about my SuiteDash build outs or want to work with me, there is a direct link in my description. And if you have any questions, just shoot me an email directly, and I'll be able to answer them. I hope that you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.
I'm all lit by your vibe.